Hey, welcome to Thinking Man Games. My name is Gabe Gerwin,
And I'm Tristan Edelman.
and we think about games, so you will too. Now, this is an episode that I've been kind of planning for a while, and we had some difficulties, I guess, just getting around to it because
hmm
I went back to school and I wasn't around for a while. But that's favorite franchises. Now,
Yeah.
this episode was I guess more of a concern to me now, or more of an interest for me now, because my favorite franchise just had its next release, its most recent release, Splinter Cell, and obviously from the video footage you're watching now, you can see that. Um, but I was just thinking about what I'd consider my favorite franchises, and there's quite a few of them. There's only like there's really no way for me to pick too many of them to put in a list and say like I like this franchise better than another. What about you?
Well, in terms of franchises, it's definitely hard because I have, there's not necessarily one hit wonders, but there's games within larger franchises that I really like, but
Right,
I wouldn't say as a whole, I really like that franchise.
right.
But yeah, I'd say I can narrow it down to about five or six,
Yeah.
really.
And I'm the same way. I didn't put it on the list because I only really love one game, but BioShock Infinite is I consider it to be the best game I've ever played. But BioShock One, I played it and I didn't like it as much. I thought Infinite was it just appealed to me more. I can't
Was infinitely better.
weave.
uh,
But it was I don't know. I liked the setting a little bit more, and the gameplay mechanics felt much more modern and all that stuff.
mhm.
But there are some that I think I'm ready to jump on the bandwagon, Infinite included, since that was the last game. Um, but I have a few examples here. Now I'll wait to talk about the footage you're watching. A couple minutes in, you'll notice I fail miserably. I forgot to look for mines with my sonar goggles, and I stepped directly on one while I was trying to grab a guy. And then later on in this video, I fail numerous times just because I was trying to get through the level quickly because I realized I was going over time. Uh, but besides those, first I'll talk, I guess, about the other Tom Clancy franchise. Now, while Splinter Cell really got me into the whole Tom Clancy universe and whatnot, Ghost Recon was a huge thing for me back when the this ending generation, I guess, was just kind of starting out. In 2006 and then 2007, we had Ghost Recon Advanced Warfighter 1 and 2. Um, and these are two of the best tactical shooters ever made. Future Soldier obviously just came out last year. I want to say it was May 22nd. I think I remember the day.
Wow, that's a specific date. Yeah.
Because I went to a midnight launch.
Oh, okay.
um, and it was really boring because there was only like four other people there. But anyway, um, those two games when they came out were incredible. Besides the fact that it was kind of obvious that they took one big game and cut it in half, and then just took
Mm.
some time the next year to tweak the AI and stuff because it was pretty much the same game. But the story was great. It was grounded. They take place in Mexico, in Mexico City,
Mhm.
for their entirety, which it's like a coup situation, and it doesn't really have these huge. Um, well, there's global implications, but it doesn't have as much in common with like a Michael Bay film as some action games and shooters do
Or like
today.
Call of Duty where it goes all around the globe or
Right,
whatever.
right, and there is some globe trotting. Like even in the most recent Ghost Recon, they go kind of all over. Um, but it's more of like a snooping type of thing as opposed to a just explosions everywhere and they
hmm
magically get there kind of thing like
Yeah.
Call of Duty has done. Um, Battlefield actually kind of for the most part stayed away from that. Most of their stuff took place in kind of surrounding countries. I think there may have been a London level too, but I'm talking about Battlefield 3 by the way. But
hmm
but yeah, I loved that game. I loved the environments. They felt open. They made you feel exposed. Um, and that really got me interested. And I was a little disappointed when I found out that I guess it was a hoax or maybe it was canceled. There was a game coming out for the Vita that was supposed to be announced like at E3 called Ghost Recon Final Mission. I think that was the name of it.
Hmm.
And I was excited. I was like, oh, we're gonna get like a future soldier on the go. The Vita's capable of doing that. But it never materialized.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
I never heard of that.
yeah, it was kind of like a quick announcement. It was that and one other game that was real. I think it
Hmm.
was maybe this was last E3. It must have been. I think it was Assassin's Creed Liberation, which did get announced, but that
Yeah.
didn't. All right, what's one of yours?
Uh, I mean, there's so many, but I would say on the whole franchise, Kingdom Hearts.
Hmm.
A lot of people, for a lot of people, they've only experienced one and two, and then
Mm-hmm.
the other things that they've built up are kind of by the side, and they don't really care. But personally, I'm really into every game I've played.
Mm-hmm.
Even Chain of Memories, which is just kind of like a
I
card
love
based.
that game.
It's fun.
I
It's
love
great.
that game. That's actually the only one I own because I don't own a PlayStation 2.
Yeah,
Um, and
but
man, I love that game.
yeah, it's very fun. It's a great game, even though it's not better than one or two. But I've been playing 358 over 2 days.
Which is the stupidest name ever in all video
Yeah,
games,
just
but
let the names go. The games are fun, but that game is probably the best DS game I've ever played, which is a bold statement.
wow.
Just something about it really gets to me. I think what the biggest thing about each installment is they're treated like spin-off titles,
Yeah.
but they all have major implications in the plot. So if you're
Yeah.
invested in that, it's so worthwhile, and
Which
it's
is why I kind of wonder, like, I feel like a lot of those games they could have given the name 3 to. So
yeah.
you wonder, like, if someone's just played 1 and 2 and they were waiting for the next proper sequel, if, like, they're going to be kind of confused out of their mind.
Yeah, most of them are like in between games
Okay.
or prequels, but I think Dream Drop Distance could be given the name three because it takes place after two. And actually, that's the only game I haven't played in addition to Recoded. So I can't say I love the entire franchise, but of what I played. And then most of them are handheld games, but for handheld games, they do a really good job at creating a world and just feeling like you're playing Kingdom Hearts.
Hmm.
With the exception of Birth by Sleep, I would say, which is kind of weird because you would think the PSP would be more capable than the DS or the Game Boy Advance at creating these Disney worlds, but it wasn't. That's actually probably my least favorite in the franchise. But in general, I mean, the whole Disney Final Fantasy thing, yeah, it's weird, but it's done so well in practice with the gameplay and just kind of how the story flows throughout the
Right.
games.
And I'm a little worried that they're gonna, like, a lot of people mention the whole Star Wars thing because the part of Disney that worked really well with the Final Fantasy universe was like if you go to Disney World and you go to Magic Kingdom, that's where they're getting all their ideas from. Like,
Yeah.
you're not gonna go to Hollywood Studios or
Except that they did do Pirates of the Caribbean
they
in two,
did.
and they did Tron, but so
Yeah,
like
Tron was weird. I still think that was weird. Pirates
I
of the
think
Caribbean a little.
it's a
Well,
little more weird, I would say.
is Pirates of the Caribbean in Magic Kingdom?
I don't know, man.
I think it is.
But it's still weird though because it's the live action movie, and then
Yeah.
they're
Well, but it
kind
was a
of
ride
animated.
first.
Yeah, obviously, but
Yeah.
they were taking the
Yeah,
movie characters and
yeah,
everything.
and they
But
they actually retrofitted the ride to
yeah,
resemble the movie now.
Star
Um,
Wars has been in Disney for so long, even just in Disneyland. I feel
yeah,
like it would actually
Star
work.
Tours.
Yeah, Star Tours. I feel like people are just. I know a lot of people are opposed to it. Like it doesn't make any sense, and it doesn't. But did Disney with Final Fantasy ever make sense to begin with? It could be done terribly, and then I would rue the day that I ever wished there would be Star Wars. But it could be done.
Yeah.
I just want to see a lightsaber keyblade so bad.
Well, my next one is Fire Emblem, I think.
Ooh, wow! I haven't played any of those games,
Oh,
so
wow.
go ahead.
So this is a series that I got into, like, I think a lot of people in the West. After Smash came out, I
Oh, definitely.
saw Roy and Marth, and it was mostly Roy though, actually. And I wondered, like, who is this guy? So then the first one to come out in the United States, I believe, was actually Fire Emblem 7. I don't remember the official name, but
Wasn't that for the Game Boy Advance?
yes, it was.
That was the first one.
That
yeah.
and
It
it's
just was called Fire Emblem here, right?
correct. That and then
Okay.
Sacred Stones. They weren't sequels to each other; they were standalone, as most of them are. But you actually play as one of the characters you play as, one of the lords, so to speak, is Roy's father, Eliwood. And I noticed they had a resemblance, but I didn't realize that until much later. But the games that really, I think, kind of cemented this as being one of my favorite franchises were the Radiant games on the GameCube. Specifically, the first one, Path of Radiance. It's still my favorite Fire Emblem, although Awakening is really good too. Just because the story is so much better than like anything I've seen, like from a JRPG or really from a Nintendo game. As far as like deepness goes, there's like elements of racism that are handled like really well, which I thought they'd have kind of a cut and racism's bad type of thing, but it's kind of revealed in a way that's very organic, and that's because the game is extremely long. Uh,
Hmm.
but yeah, they're known for being very tough. They've been easier on that. Like I was so happy when I learned that Awakening was gonna allow a casual mode where you can bring people back after each level if they die. Because while I always kind of went through that and was ready for the challenge, it it would be so demotivating when you were at the end of a level and like one person died that you needed in the next level.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I think the series is gonna have a really good future ahead of it. I think they were kind of worried about it after or before Awakening came out because Shadow Dragon was kind of people didn't really care, but
Hmm.
it's gonna be good. Now I want Advance Wars back.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm definitely interested in Fire Emblem. I just haven't gotten around to, playing any of them.
Hmm.
But yeah, one of my other ones would probably. I mean, it's so, I guess, generic in general. But Mario, man, like I can't go
Yep,
without saying
that's on
Mario
my list too.
because it's just it's platforming perfection. You know what I mean? It's just like I don't think there's any other platformer series or franchise that really um, does it quite as well. And then if you say franchise too, all the spin-offs, Mario Party, all the sports games, Kart, those games are awesome too.
Yeah,
So it's kind of hard not to just love Mario. And people are kind of down on Mario lately, especially since Nintendo's not really doing anything different. Even though
yep.
they say new Super, it's not new in any
It's
way.
old.
But
The
that's
Wii
what
U
I
one
love
was good
about them
though. It
too.
was way better than the DS one.
Yeah, but I mean that's the kind of thing I like. I love the 2D Mario.
Yep.
Super Mario World is like my second favorite game of all time.
Hmm.
Just yeah, it's the very best platformer
Yeah,
out there.
and it's
There's not
been
much to say.
so consistently good.
Yeah,
I think my first like memory I think was World, and then
me
64,
too.
and then 2. I played 2 on the Game Boy Advance. It was just called Super Mario Advance, and I loved that game. I know a lot of people crap on it because it's so different,
Yeah, I love that game
but I
too.
love that game.
Hmm.
Yeah, I love Mario. I am worried about the way that they're handling it right now, but it's a franchise that has just been consistently like I've consistently liked every game I've played. Um, Even though 2 was ungodly easy. Uh, but I can't really say the same about Zelda. I love a lot of Zelda games, but I'm kind of worried what they're trying to do with it. I don't know, but Mario was the only Nintendo series actually to. Oh, I guess Fire Emblem too. Those were the only two to make my list.
Mm.
So my next one, kind of jumping off from that, is Rayman.
Oh wow,
Specifically the latest few because it did have a pretty long spell of kind of mediocrity. But
dude, Rayman 2 I did not like at all, which I feel like is an unpopular opinion, but
uh,
back in the day, the PlayStation,
yeah,
whatever, the 64
and
one.
it's funny because Michael Ansell's been involved since the beginning, and somehow like out of the blue, I guess, the end of 2011, we got Origins, which caught a lot of people by surprise,
Hmm.
and I think because of that, and because it came out, so I think it might have come out on the same day as Assassin's Creed,
Uh,
which was really
Ubisoft
dumb.
setting itself up for failure.
Yeah, but they said it was still profitable. But yeah, that game is so well made. And now Rayman Legends came out, and it's just as good. Some parts are better. I'm not crazy about the Murphy levels that are included in it, which he was introduced in Rayman 2. Um,
Hmm.
that basically you're helping people out. I think it would actually be better if you do those co-op than you do them with like an AI auto runner. But the music levels, the boss fights, the tone, and the uh, just the humor uh, makes it definitely, I think, one of my favorite franchises now. I was so excited to get this game.
Hmm.
Oh, and there's I just got to a part where I got ambushed by Splinter Cell bad guys yesterday. So
Yeah, Legends looks amazing. I need to get that game soon.
yeah, it's great.
Yeah, one of my other ones, it's Ratchet and Clank. I was gonna give a build up, but it's just Ratchet and Clank because that was one of my first like game series. Like I had played Mario World as a standalone thing, and I hadn't played another Mario in a while. But Ratchet and Clank, I consistently had 1, 2, and 3
Hmm.
in my library for since I was a kid. Revealing my age again, but the series even now, Full Frontal Assault was the most recent one. Yeah, yeah. Okay, so I played every game. Full Frontal Assault was definitely the worst, but I still had fun with it, and I think that says something about the entire franchise. Just it's the third person action. You got that platform, and you got that humor, and it's so genuine
Hmm.
throughout the whole series. I can't not love it.
And I wonder if they're going to get back to that future or like their past success since they've kind of been split off between I think they were, what is it? Their North Carolina studio that they had.
Yeah, they're doing a more traditional one now with
Yeah,
Into the Nexus, I think is what it's
yeah,
called.
but I'm like saying because they're also doing Sunset Overdrive, the Xbox One
Oh
exclusive.
yeah.
Hopefully, they have the man power to make it as good as it was because in the Xbox PS2 generation that was like the game. Everyone
Hmm.
loved Ratchet and Clank. Kind of jumping off that, one of my favorite like first favorite series, and I probably shouldn't have been playing it when I was, is Halo. So in 2002, I think summer or fall of 2002, I played it for the first time at my friend's house down the street, and we were just playing the multiplayer, and I loved it. And I don't know, I guess I was kind of a rational child, so my parents thought it was okay since it was aliens
Hmm.
or whatever, and it was. So I was 8, and I was playing
Hmm.
Halo. My brother and I got an Xbox, and we got that, and Blinks the Time Sweeper. I think
Oh
those are the
man,
only.
that game.
Oh yeah, and
Hmm.
so I loved it. Bought Halo 2 right away. I think I got it right away. Halo 3, I got the Legendary Edition. I actually do not own ODST. I don't know why. I probably should. I got Wars a little bit after it came out. Got 4 the day it came out. Got Reach the day it came out. Um, and I'm really excited, obviously, for what they're going to be doing on the Xbox One. But yeah, that franchise, I think it just kind of shaped my love of smart shooters. Because the story in Halo, with all the action and the multiplayer and stuff like that, and how popular it was, kind of gets overlooked. But it's a huge universe. There's tons and tons of books, especially in the
Oh
latest
yeah.
one, Halo 4. The Didact, people kind of thought that villain came out of the blue. Uh, but if you read the Forerunner saga, they go like well into his backstory where you can learn about him, and those came out before the games did.
Hmm.
So yeah, Halo is definitely one of mine. And while I wish Microsoft wouldn't lean on it as much as they do, it's still a great franchise, and I still think it's the best shooter franchise around.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with Jawa Master Chief, for sure. So I think one of my other favorites, it's actually probably an early one too, is Crash Bandicoot.
Okay,
Lately, okay, yeah, it's been sucky. Not even lately, because it's been what
non-existent.
5 years since its last release.
Yeah,
But
Naughty
even
Dog's been making that Uncharted
through
money.
yeah, even through the PS2 era, I really enjoyed the games after Naughty Dog left.
Hmm.
Twin Sanity, I really liked a lot, which I know it didn't really get as great reviews. But that first set of three, I just remember like sitting there playing with my dad and just switching off. It was the best fun I'd had in that, as a child.
You play the
And
racing one too?
Crash Team Racing.
Hmm.
I played all the games basically,
Yeah.
almost all of them. And yeah, it just was an experience unlike any other. And then I realized at that point what humor can be injected into a video game because I
Hmm.
would get the puns that the names were kind of referencing, and I was like, I get that at like 7. So I was just like it really empowered me, I guess. That's a great series, though.
Yeah. Hopefully that comes back with I guess
I
more
hope.
importance. I feel
Hopefully
the
they don't
same.
bring it back like Skylanders or something. I mean,
Yeah, I was just gonna say that. I loved playing Spyro at my friend's house on his PS1 when I was, well, I guess it was just the original PlayStation
mm,
when we were little, and it was Skylanders is well and good, but I do hope they make like a good Spyro game again because
yeah.
the Legend of Spyro games were not that great. Um, and yeah, I'll go to my okay. Oh, I have two more. Okay,
Okay.
Castlevania: Lords of Shadow. Now, I consider this to be its own series because it has its own canon, even though it uses some of the same characters and whatnot.
Mm,
Um, but there's this kind of weird point. Like, I love Super Castlevania 4 on the Super Nintendo, but while everyone was kind of crazy about the IGA games, as they call them, the Metroidvanias,
mm,
I don't know. They were a little too open, I thought, and I didn't care so much for all the RPG elements. I liked the more kind of skill based gameplay, and that came back in a big way with Lords of Shadow. Um, and of course, the story was the thing. By the end, people were just clamoring to get their hands on Lords of Shadow 2. So that's my next one. I'm really excited. That game's coming out in February, and I'm gonna have to get out my Xbox 360 again since it'll almost for sure be put away by that point too, just to play that game.
All right, one of my next one is kind of a recent love that I found. It's Metal Slug,
Okay.
because I got it. I got the Metal Slug anthology for Wii, which has basically every game on it. And that game is that series is so consistently good, mostly because each game is pretty much the same thing. But the art style is, phenomenal, and that's pretty much why I like it. It just looks so good.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard as hell, which pisses me off. But on the emulated versions or whatever, you have unlimited continues, so it's not really that big a deal.
Those were on the
But
Neo Geo originally, right?
yeah, that's an SNK thing.
Okay.
They just recently came out with, well, not recently, I think it was like 4 years ago, they came out with 7. But yeah, I mean, it just so consistently good, even if they're the same games. It just I just discovered that too, like a month ago. So
Okay.
played through
And
all of them.
I'm going to go to my last one, which, of course, you're watching footage from the latest release, which is Splinter Cell. I don't know how I got involved with this series so much. I might have learned about it from X-Play, but I really don't know. All I know is that the first game I played was Pandora Tomorrow, and I really, really liked it, but I didn't get it, like, when I first bought the game, because I was, how old would I have been? 11? And so, like, the whole concept of this stealth, like, sneak around, it was kind of foreign to me, but I worked at it because I really liked the characters and the setting and the premise and all that stuff. And when Chaos Theory came out, it was, at that time, the best game I had ever played. And so I read the books, I just got a figurine imported from England that was incredibly difficult to find, and I've kind of just fallen head over heels in love with this series. I follow it constantly, and my review of Splinter Cell Blacklist will be going live maybe today, if not within the next few days. Well, by the time you listen to this, it would have already been up.
Hmm.
But yeah, honestly, I tried to get into Metal Gear Solid more, but as far as kind of the organic flow from gameplay to story goes, I just prefer Splinter Cell, and I always have.
Yeah. Fun fact: I've never played a Splinter Cell game, so
You're just like stomping on my heart. He's never played. Well, he's never finished a Halo game. He hasn't played Bioshock Infinite. And he's never touched Splinter Cell. Oh boy.
and I call myself a gamer.
Well,
I
I've
guess
also never played Final Fantasy VII,
Me
or
neither.
I have played Chrono Trigger though, and I beat it in like 2 days. It was amazing. Alrighty, so that about wraps it up. This is going to be our longest episode, but it's a big
Yeah.
topic. So, guys, stay tuned, subscribe, and we'll see you later. See ya.
See ya.